Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another Ramblings Live. I am your host for the day, Lisa Wright Bryant, class of 1987. I am the immediate past president of the Westchester University Alumni Association. I am so honored to be here today. I'm so honored, man. Wait till you get into this interview with me. I'm so honored to be interviewing Larry Dowdy. But before we interview him, I have some good information that you definitely want to listen to. I'd like to thank our partners at the WCU Foundation for providing us with a free log on to their next experience of the 2021 Gala, Saturday, February 27th at 2 p.m. The experience, wait for it, is cartooning with a Disney artist, Keelan Parham. Now, I know a lot of you are Disney fans, so you definitely want to take a part of this, be a part of this. Now, let me give you some more information about it. Master the basics of cartooning from a working Disney artist. Beginning with a focus on shapes, you'll learn to draw several animals and faces in just one virtual session. Families are welcome, definitely. So grab your pen, grab your pencil, crayon, and paper, and get started. Now, you may say, how in the world can I win this gift? This is how you do it. Share your class year and favorite spot or building on campus in the comment section. And I want you to do that all throughout this recording. Do that throughout this recording, all right? Again, as I mentioned before, I have the honor and privilege of introducing and presenting Larry Dowdy. He is the retired executive director. I can't even say it today. I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. He is the retired executive deputy to the president. And speaking from my heart, I'm going to tell you, when I was at Westchester many, many moons ago, he was one of my mentors. So when you see Lisa Wright Bryant interviewing, speaking, and doing what I do, just know that some of what you see is because Larry Dowdy deposited into me when I was a Westchester student. So without further ado, Larry Dowdy. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you, and welcome, Rams Nation. Thank you for all your excitement in the introduction. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Listen, as I was sharing in the introduction, I'm excited not because of the titles, and I'm so proud of you being the retired executive deputy to the president, but again, because of the impact that you had on my life when I was that silly freshman wanting to be a part of Westchester State College at that time. And I served with you in the Affirmative Action Committee. So I want to thank you for what you've done for Westchester.
Well, thank you. We're very proud of your work at Westchester, and particularly your last recent stint as being a president of the Alumni Association.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to talk more about that because of conversations that we had about that. So let's rewind. Let's rewind. Because a lot of people know about the Larry Dowdy Multicultural Center. I have my shirt representing. A lot of people know about that. But we want to know, how in the world did Larry Dowdy get to Westchester State College? So tell us, where are you from and where did you live when you were at Westchester?
I was born and raised in Chester, Pennsylvania, an urban steel mill town when I was coming up. Graduate of Chester High School in 1969. I took a track in high school, which was a college prep and vocational technical, and was on my way to technical school during the summer of 1969. And I received a shoulder tap from my advisor of a club called Vocational Industrial Clubs of America, who said that Westchester might have an opportunity to go to college. And this was about 8 weeks before I was to go to technical school. So I did a dry run, got on a bus to come out to Westchester before my campus interview, wound up in Swarthmore College because I got on the wrong bus, didn't know where Westchester was, and arrived at Westchester, was interviewed by the late Herb Lee, who's one of our famous alums who was in the admissions office. He accepted me. I started the summer program there in 1969, which was called the Higher Education Opportunity Program, which was the forerunner of the ADP program, the Student Success Program now, and went on from there as an undergraduate student. Lived first in Old Main, which was on during that summer on the corner of High and University Avenue.
Mhm.
Freshman year was in Killinger Hall. Sophomore year, Sanderson Hall opened in the early 70s. Then found my way to Wayne Hall as a resident assistant and also assistant director of Wayne Hall as an undergraduate student, I might add. And then went on to graduate in 1973.
All right. As I said in the beginning, I've known you since I was 18. I never knew you were from Chester.
Yes,
I
born
didn't
and
know.
raised.
You know I'm from Chester, right?
I must confess, I didn't know that neither.
Really?
Really?
It's a small world after all.
Yes, it is.
Definitely.
Yes,
So
it is.
I have a question about that. Because I remember when I told everyone I was going to Westchester State and they looked at me, they thought, wait a minute, you're going to Westchester? So, question for you, when you told everyone in the 60s that you were going to Westchester, what were the responses that you received?
I guess I received multiple responses. Some was of disbelief, um,
Mm-hmm.
likely because it was not the norm
That's right.
for African American students to be admitted into enroll in Westchester.
Mhm.
Others were pleased because of Westchester's reputation, regional-wide, statewide, and nationwide for being an excellent institution in regard to that. When I arrived at Westchester, Westchester was a different place than what it is now. It was not as welcoming, it was not as diverse, it was not as inclusive as it is now. So I'm glad that it made quite a bit of progress over those many, many years.
I agree. I agree. And what was your major at Westchester?
Majored in education, comprehensive social sciences, was called back then. And that was with the ability to teach all of the social sciences, history, political science, sociology, psychology, and the like, and received another shoulder tap when I approached graduation and was asked to become a resident director of Killinger Hall in 1973 and moved into student personnel or student affairs. Then after the first year in Killinger, was asked to become assistant director of the Higher Education Opportunity Program, for which I enrolled in. And so I did that for a 2-year stint and then moved on to Cheyney University uh, to become the Dean for Student Services and also did a 10-month stint as acting vice president of student affairs, all before I was the age of 30.
Wow. Wow. So, to all of you alums out there, especially you younger alums that have graduated within the past 10 years, Larry Dowdy is an example of what you can do. Don't think, okay, I'm young, I don't have the experience. Larry said he did all of that before the age of 30. That is definitely an encouragement, not just for the alums too, Larry, but even us more seasoned folk that you may think, okay, I'm a certain age, I can't do. And you're definitely showing and proving to us that you can do all things when you set your mind to do it. And some doors being open for you, which is a blessing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, truly, in regard to the doors being open, I recognize, like you, I stand on the shoulders of many who have come before me. and appreciate those opportunities, what I call little shoulder taps of people guiding me, pointing me in a right direction. I returned from Cheney University in 1983 back to Westchester University as the Affirmative Action Director, and shortly after becoming Affirmative Action Director was asked to become a special assistant to the president in the president's office under Dr. Ken Parent's administration, and worked with him. But at that point, in 1983-84, became a member of the president's cabinet. And since that mid-1980s, I've been a member of the president's cabinet. Since I retired in December of 2014, I've had experienced over, or nearly, I should say, 25 years of taking minutes of the president's cabinet meetings and coordinating and arranging the agendas for the president's cabinet weekly meetings. So I have let's just say I'm a walking resource of things that I'm permitted to share with you, and those I can't because I would have to kill you.
You can't do that.
Okay, well, don't ask, I won't tell you.
So you mentioned, or you have 25 years, you're a resource now. And as I refer back to my introduction that you are retired now. So what does retirement look like for Larry Dowdy?
Retirement is great. I looked at it with some ambivalence. Frankly, I didn't want to use the word retirement. I wanted to use the word journey. That I was just on another journey. But after my second year or so, I kind of settled into the word retirement. I've done traveling, but I've been involved in establishing and working with the foundation and others with the endowment for the Dowdy Multicultural Center, and also a longtime member of the Pennsylvania Black Conference on Higher Education as a executive council committee member. So between those two efforts and doing some traveling and then trying to rewind, if you will, from 41 years in higher education, 34 at Westchester and 7 at Cheney, that's sort of been what I've been doing.
You're not retired, you know that.
No, but I am tired. I may not be retired, but I am tired.
That's when you just take a little break, maybe a couple of days, month, and then re-up again, because you are not retired. You're not retired. Right. I want to talk about, though, you mentioned the Larry Dowdy Multicultural Center. Tell everyone about that and how you really got involved with it.
The Multicultural Center, which is on campus, as we know, has been around for a number of years. It was established under the administration of the former president, Madeline Wing Adler, and the former longtime director, Skip Hudson, who has retired. But it's been a place for grounding, for supporting student success, particularly for multicultural students, a place where they can have a sense of belonging, but also being a resource for the institution as a whole on a multicultural types of issues. It's had a long time, a renowned mentorship program. It has a wonderful director, associate director, assistant director, GAs, and mentors that continue to be instrumental in supplementing support for particularly multicultural students and reaching out to the campus as a whole to be part of a change agent in regard to that.
Mm-hmm. You know, when I was at Westchester, we didn't have anything like that. We had all of you, but we did not have that resource. And I just think it is a great thing for our students of color, to be able to have a place where they can go, they can get the resources, they can get the coaching, they can the programming, because I've seen also that they have programming as well. And I know about 4 years ago, the name was changed to the Larry Dowdy Multicultural Center. And I know that is through an endowment that you and your wife gave, correct?
Yes, we were pleased to work with the university to establish the endowment. My wife and I had provided a lead gift of $25,000.
Mhm.
I'm happy to say that SSI provided a tremendous gift
Yes.
of nearly either 250 or 300 thousand dollars. I should know
Mhm.
that figure by now. In
Those are
regard to that, but shortly after I retired, we instituted, working with the advancement office, a program to raise funds, and in short order, we were able to raise $325,000 to
Oh,
establish the endowment. And what the endowment has enabled us to do was to pursue four primary areas. One being student leadership
mm,
opportunities for multicultural students to attend off-campus workshops where they get a chance to interact with other multicultural students from other institutions and find out what their commonalities are and what their issues were. Secondly, to support students who are going on internship programs for study abroad.
mhm,
Particularly, we wanted to increase the number of multicultural students who are participating in that opportunity.
mhm.
Third, to encourage multicultural students to take advantage of leadership development opportunities that are being held on campus, and to
Yes.
focus on civility, diversity, inclusion, and servant leadership. And then
Yeah.
third was to a pillar that doesn't just focus on multicultural students, but bringing multicultural students and other campus student leaders together who aren't of color to discuss issues of diversity, inclusion, civility, and servant leadership, and to come up with individual plans, action plans, as a
Mm.
result of those discussions that would help the change agents for the institution as a whole. So those
Yes.
are things that we're doing, and we're providing some funding for these efforts and activities.
You know, that is so important, those programs, because the students can't really see, of course, nobody can see in the future, but what they learn, Larry, through those programs for going to the different place off campus events and talking to different students and getting the whole student leadership training, they don't realize that that'll help them 10 years down the road, 20 down the road, years down the road, 30 years down the road. That really helps them. And I also know one of the programs that they attend is the Sankofa conference.
Yes.
I think through Bloomsburg University, one of the sister universities in Pashi. And I've spoken to students who come back on fire. And I'm not saying this because it's you, but they come back on fire, excited about the conference, excited about meeting other students that look like them, that are going through the same type of experiences that they go through. So I think that is just a plus for the students.
But also thank you for not only your participation in Sankofa through Bloomsburg, but also for your participation in the Pennsylvania Black Conference on Higher Education, SLDI, the Student Leadership Development Institute, which is very similar to Sankofa, but it's amazing to see the growth. And as you said, the students on fire when they have an opportunity to get off campus and interact and to really, in some respects, learn from one another, but also, in some respects, learn that some of the things they're doing on their individual campuses is somewhat a step ahead of what others are doing. And that really
Mhm.
empowers them to
Mhm.
do more and to do even better.
Yes, yes. Well, I learned about that workshop thing from you and others, the Wayne Locusts and
Yes,
other people that whose shoulders I stand on. So I want to take a break, and then I want to get back into this conversation. I want to play a game. Is that all right with you?
that's fine. Let's do it.
Okay. Now, it's not for a gift. We're not having an award. It's just to say that you've answered the answers correctly. Is that okay?
That's fine. Just don't challenge me too much. I'm a retiree now, so don't challenge me too much.
I'm not listening to Larry because you are not a retiree. You are just on a different journey. That's
Okay.
all.
Thank you. That's it.
All right, here we go. We are playing this or that. Now, cake or pie?
Cake.
That's right. Call or text?
Text, of course.
But of course. All right. Now I know, Larry, you're going to get this one right. Jake's Bar or the Rat?
Neither.
Oh, quiet. You have to pick which one though, Larry.
All right. It would be the Rat. I never been in Jake's Bar, but I must say I did on one or two occasions stumble my way out of the Rat.
All right. So far, we are agreeing. We're on the same page. Old Main or New Main?
Ooh, Old Main.
No, I know. Wawa or 7-Eleven?
Ooh. Well, back in my day, it was 7-Eleven.
That's
There weren't
right.
that many Wawas around.
There
That.
weren't. There was only
Yeah.
one, and that
Yeah.
was
But
on High Street.
yes. Yeah, it was next to the Holy Trinity Church. Yes, it was on
Okay.
High Street.
Whatever you say, I'm with you.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you know this one, so I'm just going by what our producers say. Amori's Pizza or Rigtown Pizza?
Benny's Pizza.
Who?
Benny's. Benny's greasy
Yes.
cheese
Yes.
pizza. If you didn't carry it right in the box, the whole thing would slide right to a corner.
Yes. Yes. Ooh.
But it was good.
And pepperoni too from Benny's.
And sausage too, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, I'm hungry. Okay, books or TV?
TV.
Last question. Beer or wine?
Singapore Slings.
You know what? That was my drink of choice too, Larry.
There you go. There you go.
It's a Chester Westchester thing.
Those old fruity drinks. Yeah.
Yep. Don't talk about me, everybody. All right. Let's get back into our conversation. I have two questions for you.
Yes.
Number one, I want to talk to you about philanthropy. What can you tell our students about the benefits of philanthropy? I'm going to just start with that question, and then I'll go into the second question later. What are the benefits of philanthropy?
Well, it's something I highly encourage. One is it's one way of expressing and showing your civic responsibility
Right.
to your community, to your church, to your own institutions such as Westchester. That it's very important that many of these institutions and groups can't solely survive, by the funding stream that they need, and they need to develop others. So it's good for those reasons that there's a need to do that, and it's a good habit for young students to get in the habit of doing it early on. And we're not talking about necessarily initially big bucks, but $25, $50, $100 a year, contribution, should be reachable for many. As students grow older and you're in the world of work, one thing that people ought to be doing, not only because it's good for civic engagement, but also it's a tax write-off, that you should not pass up, as far as your income tax is concerned. Others in this world and country, well, not world, country takes advantage of that, and you should too.
Yes, indeed. So I want to shift gears a little bit also. This past, well, actually it was last summer, the RAM magazine ran an article of research that you did of past students of color and the challenges that they faced. And let me rephrase that. not only the challenges, but the obstacles that they overcame in Westchester. So if you can talk to us about that, what inspired you to do that
Well,
research?
one of the primary thing that inspired me, I've had the opportunity of serving as a deputy to the president to engage and meet a lot of individuals across the spectrum, and also some of our former Black alums from the 1940s and 1950s, and to hear their stories of how life was at Westchester. And on the good side, they were all very proud, well-educated, and renowned in their field graduates. And what was more remarkable about those individuals and the stories that they told me and shared with the university as a whole was what they had to achieve. And during that period of time, Westchester was not alone. And during that period, you could not live on campus during that period of time. You had to live off campus. And so hearing their stories and knowing that I stood on their shoulders, and
Yes.
whatever my trials and tribulations were, which were many, when I was a student, I could not um, dwell in that, knowing what those individuals had to endure. And it wasn't until around 1946, 45 that the campus began to allow students of color to live on campus, but only on a limited basis. They had to practice what was called the Room of Six, which was for African American females, and they would only admit six to stay in the room, and they were segregated, if you will, together, there. So even though when they were permitted, it was in a limited basis, and up until the mid 1960s and late 1960s, students of color had to live together. Were not permitted to integrate and to live. So again, while Westchester was not alone with that history, it is part of our history. And I thought it was important that, particularly in this time of celebrating our 150th, that we not lose sight of the great accomplishments that those individuals had overcome and how they became outstanding citizens within their communities.
Yes. And it was encouraging as an alum and as an alum of color to read that, to, like you said, to hear what they've gone through, but at the same time, they didn't use it as an excuse to say, okay, I can't accomplish. They used it as fuel to help them move on. And in part two, it's encouraging to see how far Westchester has come. Because that's, like you said, that's not the same university. So that's really good. It was really good article. So thank you so much for that. So let's we're going to end, but I have one last question for you. Just one last question. What advice would you give to Westchester students and alums?
Advice I would give, particularly in regard to career focus and opportunities, is to be flexible in regard to accepting a door of opportunity that may open up to you that you never envisioned you would find yourself in. If it looks promising, and if it's particularly you're being directed by someone that you respect and has wisdom, follow their advice and step through that door of opportunity and be flexible enough and really sound enough in your own thinking that being a Westchester student alum, that you can step into any door of responsibility and opportunity.
Yes. Well, that's good. I took that myself. I'm looking for my opportunities. Definitely. Thank you so much, Larry. Thank you again for all that you've done for Westchester. Thank you for, like, behind the scenes, you're still doing for Westchester and our students. And as I mentioned earlier, I thank you so much for all that you've done for me as well. Even now, conversations we've had recently about me going into with the working with the Alumni Association and running for president, and the encouragement that you gave me. I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your good work. And
Thank you.
go Ram Nation.
That's right. That's right. That was good, because that's a good segue. Because speaking of Ram Nation, I want to speak to all the alums to take part in our alumni to alumni networking. And the platform is called Ram Nation. So for more information about it, I want you to visit www.wcualumni.org/Ram Nation. So thank you again for joining us. I'm Lisa Wright Bryant, again, immediate past president of the Alumni Association. See you at the top, because the bottom is too crowded. Rams up. Thank you so much. Have a good one.